Check 1 2 1 2 check 1 2 1 2 check. This is the start of stream test. 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 All right, it seems like everything's working. Call me a fake, calling me anything. Make a mistake, tell me what you should hear. I am a sucker for rapture, reading lines with nothing new to say. Leaving me sucking for nectar. Our branches don't bear anything. Call it a break, I'm calling it everything. Make a mistake, telling me you aren't here. I am a sucker for rapture, reading lines with nothing new to say. Leaving me sucking for nectar. Our branches don't bear anything. Reading lines with nothing new to say. Reading lines with nothing new to say. Boom, seamless transition, I think. We're trying to get the clock as low as possible on the therme here because I'm a big fan of how crunchy the repeats get. We'll turn the microcosm down to make that point. Somebody asked me about why I didn't have the therme on the board last time, and it was literally just because the spot that the therme usually lives on was being taken up by the dweller, which I almost left on the board for tonight's stream. I took it off like 5 minutes ago. I really love the dweller, and I want to do a bunch of stuff with it in the next week of recorded stuff. However, I missed the therme. Whenever I go more than a week without it, I get withdrawals. Jamie, thank you for being here, man. I appreciate you thanking me for streaming, but thank you for showing up for it. Otherwise this would be aggressively not interesting for anybody, including me. It would just be me sitting here in a room playing ambient guitar by myself, which I normally do, but usually I'm filming it with better quality video and editing it later, whereas with this it's it's either this or if nobody shows up, it's not much of anything. The Instagram content, the YouTube content is if you build it, they will come. Live streaming is just you better hope somebody's there. I swear someday we're gonna put together a real schedule. And people will be able to kind of know ahead of time when I'm supposed to be streaming and when I'm gonna show up and everything, so that people can kind of anticipate it, as opposed to what this is, which is me deciding whether or not I want to do the push notification to everybody on the Patreon to let them know and hassle them, which I always get nervous about. Yeah, it gives me anxiety to do the at here mention on the Instagram. I think I need to set up or not on the Instagram, sorry, on the Patreon, or the Discord for the Patreon. I think I need to do a thing where I set up a separate thread in the Patreon that people can kind of opt into, and if they do, then they will get push notifications about streams, and if they don't want to get push notifications for the Discord, there's a way for them to avoid it. It's funny, the therme is my favorite pedal ever made. However, all of my favorite settings with it have the mix at next to 0. Here, we'll do a point here. So therme, mix up, filter all the way open. I love it, but it's a little wonky. But if you take that mix down to seriously like 9 o'clock, super low, and dial that low pass filter way back. There it is. You hear that? I love that. I love when you can get the therme to really kind of sit in some weird Like almost you don't notice it, but if it was gone, the piece would be less interesting. It's the best pedal. It's the best pedal. All right, what do we got? I switched back to my phone for comments this time around because the iPad was unhelpful and staring this direction at the monitor seemed, you know, like I wasn't engaging with the audience, and you gotta be on top of those kinds of things. That's how you make the big $4.99 donations. Yes, this pick guard is dope. It's like you know, it's like, what is that? The perloid or whatever. But you got two lights up here. You got the red light over here, and we got our cool like backlight. You know, you got to make the guitar pop, man. Look at that with the red light across it. Or you go over here and it just kind of has like a cool. Yeah. I keep this room pretty dark for like darker finished guitars. The PRS, as anybody who joined us for the last stream knows, really pops with this lighting. It's a good look. What else do we got? Ken, this is a fair point, but like this speaks to how much anxiety I have about like the concept of Patreon and everything. It's stuff that I need to get over. It's stuff that Andy has tried to help me like get over in private. But like, you know, like it's. I feel like I had to like talk people into believing in the concept of the Patreon for me in the first place. I don't think I needed to, but I internalized that. And then so when I also then like I'm like, but yeah, but am I gonna annoy people with the Discord, like push notifications? Are they gonna like end up just turning off like notifications and stop engaging with the disc? Like, you know how it is, man. Like, you know how internalized anxiety is. I mean, maybe you don't. Maybe you are like self-actualized in a beautiful way. And if that's the case, then I'm very happy for you. But like, whatever. I'm in my mid-30s. I'm not there yet. Kun Chang, the way your comment got split up, I thought that there was a company just called Quaker Devices, and they were going to be like, you know, like Amish people who make guitar pedals, and I was really into that for a second. No, I haven't played the Swiss things though. That's their kind of like utility routing pedal, if I remember correctly. It looks cool. I will say, I'm not allowed to say, there is some utility stuff coming out soon that I am psychotically excited about. Like some of my favorite utility pedals that I have ever gotten my hands on that are coming out in the not too distant future that you should be on the lookout for because they're really cool. I can't say anything else about that, but they're dope. I've been playing my PRS too much. Def got it set up with like absolutely astonishingly low action, and so I've just been like two-hand tapping all over the place. And now I'm back on my Mustang, which is like way less conducive for that because it's just not the guitar for that kind of thing. Raymond, we've got a bunch of stuff turned on right now, so it depends on what you're asking about. If you're looking for the kind of pitch shifty pedal, that right there, that would be the Chase Bliss Audio Therme, aka my favorite pedal ever made. If you're looking for the kind of like loop that's running in the background right now, that would be a combination of the Boss vocoder and the Hologram Electronics Microcosm right here. And then if you're looking for the like delay and reverb, that would be the stereo delay and reverb, that would be the Volante by Strymon and the Mercury 7 by Maris. Yes, Pat. We started the entire loop off today. If we dial back, you can hear that. That's all vocoder stuff running. Like, it was just a bunch of vocoder chunks thrown into the microcosm engines. Most of that is full wet mosaic mode with the vocoder, which I find works really, really well. Raymond, yeah, I know. This is how these things go. The good stuff is the good stuff because it don't come cheap, and it don't come easy, to quote a band called Augustana that I quite loved in high school. If anybody gets that reference, I love you. Lo-fi and glitchy effects that are more available that aren't the gen loss because not available. Oh man. I would argue that the microcosm is available. You just have to get on the pre-order list and you can get your hands on it. That's pretty doable. I think the slicer from Boss is really cool. I think that the Chase Bliss Audio Therme is an amazing lo-fi pedal if you want it to be. You just have to get one when they do come out. They will become available again, but here's our dry guitar tone. But if we do this, this is the microcosm, this is the Chase Bliss Audio Therme set full wet, with the delay time as fast as I can get it to go. And then I can dial back that low pass filter. Yeah, I love it. I love the Therme for this kind of thing. Let's take that tape speed back down, bring everything back to where it was-ish. Oh, there it is. I love the Therme so much. Somebody said Shallow Water in the chat, and yes, the Shallow Water is an amazing lo-fi pedal. I think it's great. It's not so much like a glitch pedal, but it does have some really beautiful, soft, lo-fi, old school sounding applications. I'm like trying to look around. I wish that like my camera wasn't so far away, It's a 35 millimeter lens, and so it's about 6 feet from me right now, which means I can't just like grab I mean, here, like, this is how far it is away from me. My arm is fully outstretched. I would move it over to this area where this bed is just covered in guitar pedals. Oh, lo-fi glitch pedals. The Chase Plus Audio blooper, aren't those available? I don't think those are like sold out perennially like everything else is these days. That's a great option. Is the Drolo stuff hard to get? The Drolo stuff seems like it does that well. Brian, tips for the lo-fi stuff on the microcosm. Yeah, the low pass filter on it will make things sound lo-fi. And then outside of that, buy like something like the Zvex Instant Lo-Fi Junkie or the Cooper Effects Generation Loss and or the Cooper Effects Arcades with the Gen Loss cartridge, and put it in front of it. I think that putting a kind of like a bit reduction, a sample rate reduction pedal in front of the microcosm helps give the samples a character that really makes it stand out in a way that it doesn't always stand out by itself. Yes, Tensor also. Ryan has a very good point. Tensor also does the lo-fi thing really well. Anything that does kind of like semi-real-time tape modulation or like tape stretching will get you where you need to be on that front. Also very good for glitches, especially if you have an expression pedal. You know what? We're drinking beer tonight. We're gonna switch over to the Paul Reed Smith. Hello, old friend. Oh, I missed it. Hold on. Let's find out if we're in tune. You see what I mean? For those of you who've been here for more than 5 minutes, two-hand tapping on the Mustang, a little difficult. The PRS, like, I'm not even good at this, and it's easy on this guitar. It's so great. It's so nice. Juan, I am not using the Iridium right now. I am using the Walrus Audio ACS1 with their most recent firmware update from like a couple days ago. I think technically I'm using a kind of beta version of the most recent update, but I'm pretty sure they're the same. Nope. It's a bit much on the reverb. Sean, I have not yet played the Sunlight. I've watched a couple demos on it, and it seems dope. I talked about I talked about this a little bit on my last stream a couple days ago. I haven't been crazy about all of the demos I've seen of it. That's not super surprising. I'm pretty picky about what I like in demos. but but a couple of the demos, namely and most specifically, is the pedal zone demo, really did showcase a lot of the things that I was hoping I would like about the pedal, and as a result, I really want to try one. We're like matching now. It was meant to be. We'll switch guitars when we switch beers in a little bit. Marcus, I'm not really a synth guy, mostly just because I'm not good at keys. I do screw around a little bit with a little MIDI controller with a lot of the like felt stuff. If you guys don't know Felt Instruments, they're a sample company, like a sample plugin company that is worth your time. They have some of the coolest lo-fi experimental instrument stuff on the planet. But what we're doing here, the reason that everything happening behind the guitar sounds so synthy is because we are using the Boss VO1 vocoder to kind of build a lot of our loops today. I mean, it's worth noting. Who would have thought that a PRS would work this well for this kind of music? Pure joy, exactly. I mean, for me, especially right now, it's the low turn humbuckers and that coil tap in the neck that really does it for me. Ken, yes, you are getting to the core of it, but Ken, you know that we are fickle people, and that like just because the mathematics of this guitar are right does not mean that I have the presence of mind to appreciate that it is in fact the right guitar for what I'm doing, when I feel like I could get more Instagram likes from a jazz master. Whatever, I'll own it. Wait, hold on, Jimmy. What do you mean? Did I inadvertently play something from Coastal Towns? Is that a thing that happened? not saying I didn't. I'm saying, well, first of all, answer the question. Did I play something from? Did I play like a melody piece or something from Coastal Towns off the last release? Oh, okay. I got real not even nervous. I just was gonna be really amused if I had inadvertently played something from that song. Something worth noting about kind of how I write music is, especially the stuff that I kind of like put out on, Instagram and everything else, is it's almost entirely improvised, which essentially means that like it's all done in one take with no writing in advance. Okay, good. Because yeah, it's like 99.9% of the music that I have on the internet, gun to my head, I couldn't tell you how to play it. I couldn't recreate it if I needed to. What do we got? Fair enough. No, hey, thanks for joining, man. Yeah, no, this is, I think I have semi-resolved to stream at night because, as best I can tell, Andy basically just streams whenever the sun is up. So this is I guess my official domain now. Oh, nice! Congrats, man. I think the Empress, which is still literally right here. It's part of a build I'm doing off camera. I think the Empress is dope. I think it's a really, really worthwhile, great compressor. I love how transparent it is. Yeah, I agree with that. Stefan tends to, especially for like mono reverbs, I think he does a better job than most people in our space. Yeah, that's all I have to say on the matter. I mean, well, Stefan's also just like a really good arranger of guitar. I think he's really good at kind of. We're switching off this guitar. It's too easy to two-hand tap, and I'm on beer like 5 or 6 of the night, which means I'm just gonna hit wrong notes if I keep trying to two-hand tap. So back to the Mustang that keeps me honest. And turning up the input gain on our compressor. And the low switch on the Una. See, I can't tap with this guitar. The action's just like slightly too high, and the fretboard's just got a little bit more of like a curved radius thing than my PRS does, and it throws me off. All right, what do we got? Yeah, no, Stefan's the best. I think I addressed that. Bird's Eye Maple. I am running into the Walrus Audio ACS1 for my amps tonight. I am soon going to be setting up a board that is like a good old-fashioned wet dry wet rig, where I'll have an amp in the closet behind the camera over here. It'll be intermittently either the new Harmony 6 series amp that I've got, or the Benson Vinny, depending on my mood and what I'm working on. And then I'll still keep the ACS1 out here at the board for kind of proper stereo wet effects, because I'm never giving up stereo wet effects. What do we got? Okay. Pure Joy. If you don't like the Gen Loss into the microcosm of the humbucker, so you're just not using it. Yeah, pretty much. Like, I just kind of pick and choose effects based on kind of what's working with what I'm using. Like, if the Gen Loss isn't playing nice with a drive I'm using, I won't use it. If a drive I like isn't playing nice with the amount of reverb, or the kind of like middle position into the amount of reverb, which is a thing that happens a lot, I just won't use it. Like, I don't know. I just, I pick and choose. I'm finicky. Sorry, texting my wife. She's not feeling well, so there's a slight chance that I will be hopping off for just a second. And by hopping off, I mean the stream will keep going, the loops will be playing. I will just be gone briefly to attend to my amazing wife, who is not feeling well. Yeah, that's all I have to say on that matter. Oh yeah, no, Pure Joy. I have great news about the Gen Loss. It's incredibly difficult to buy these days, so it's not like you need to buy one in the first place. No. If she needed me like tending, I wouldn't be streaming right now. She headed to bed early tonight because of the not feeling well thing, which is the only reason I'm here right now. But like I said, if she needs anything, I'm gonna bail out for a couple minutes, and you guys can just kind of listen to the dulcet sounds of a vocoder into a microcosm, which I think is fine. I'll hit the button. Where's the button? That one. It's my technical difficulties button. It's there. It works. It's exactly for what we need it to be. That's mean of YouTube's algorithm to be like, oh, you just finished a late night ambient stream. You know what you want? A fuzz demo. I guess they were nice enough to make it like my fuzz demo, which is the least fuzzy demo that has ever existed. But like that's still mean. Like they could have picked any of my reverb demos or like a delay demo, but they went, you know what you need right now is fuzz. Okay, Pure Joy knows what's up. Pure Joy knows that half the time this thread just this stream just becomes me ranting about AFI's discography. Yeah, Luke, we're using the Walrus Audio ACS1 for our cabinets. Okay, stream. I will be right back. I'm gonna go grab my dog, who is haranguing my wife while she tries to sleep. I will be back with a French Bulldog. Hang tight. Boom, we're using the thing. And we return. Let me turn my chat back on. Oh, we barely dropped under 20 while I was gone. That's an A+ in my book. Hey Dozer, no thank you. There's a thing happening out in the living room right now, so he's gonna be difficult. Hey buddy. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get him to jump up in my lap really quick. Ooh, the last episode of Ted Lasso was so good. But also, dude, spoiler alert for anybody who is 3 days behind. Excuse you. Yeah, exactly. Ken. Cactus, come on, man. Ted Lasso is a show about positivity and the inherent good in people, and you're out here dropping spoilers. Disappointed. I don't know. This last episode of Ted Lasso I thought was amazing for, and I'm gonna talk as spoiler free as humanly possible. Was amazing for its ability to kind of bridge the two pieces of Ted Lasso that are so effective, which is kind of like dealing with real things, like humanizing issues, like the fact that the characters in the show, deal with panic attacks and parental issues and all these things, and distrust of authority or distrust of spouses or exes or therapy or whatever, alongside kind of the inherent positivity that keeps the show engaging and kind of like uplifting as it deals with these hard topics. And I thought that the way that they handled some of the heavier stuff in the last episode was really, really wonderful. I think it's setting up some good stuff for the future. I think this season has done a very excellent job of building on the heavier stuff from the previous season in a way that I really liked. Also, Ken is correct. Roy is, God, he's amazing. He's so, God. If they ever do an English Batman, it's game over. He doesn't have to change his voice. Walrus Audio ACS1 versus Cab Juice Mono. Walrus Audio ACS1 because it's in stereo. And also there's some other features, but mostly just because it's in stereo and I love it. active or passive DI. I am using the Pinstripe Pedals DISO Plus, which is a dual line isolator DI, and I think it's passive, and I think it's the best thing on the market as far as DIs go. Hey, Dozer, come here. Come here. You gonna jump up? You gonna jump up? Come on, come on. Come on. Oh, yeah, I know. I'm on a stool. It's very hard. Come here. He tried, folks. I'm catching like the replay on my phone. It really got real contentious there at the end. I'm gonna try this one more time. Oh, I know. Hold please. I have an idea. This is both a reveal that I have the smallest studio on the planet right now in terms of like where all my crap has to like land around one another, but also we now have a chair. Dozer, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Dozer. Up. Come here. Up. Is this engaging? Is this good stream content? Me trying to get my dog to jump onto a chair that he's unsure about? Do I have a treat in here for him? That's the real question. Up. You know what? We're gonna do a real dangerous and unsafe thing for this stream. This is what we in the business call a really, really poor choice. We're just gonna take the camera temporarily off the tripod and try to just film my dog for a second. It's gonna be a terrible choice. It's gonna be great. Hold on. Oh, we're gonna ask for donations for the dog here. I'm gonna be shameless about that. Super chat your opinions about Dozer. There we go. That was, I don't know what that was, but I had fun with it. It's been, I used to try to like film Dozer for Instagram videos, and I gave up on it at a certain point just because. Hold on, is my lighting better now that I got rid of my left light? Hold on, let me check this key light really quick. Ooh, yeah, that's better. That's better lighting. We're gonna keep that light facing the other direction. I should probably start playing guitar again before I lose everyone's attention on this. Yes. Okay. Here we go. We're gonna talk about Dozer now. This is the reason I like to stream, is to talk about things other than guitar. I should probably be holding a guitar for this kind of thing. Dozer, he is a French bulldog. He is 13 years old, which makes him old on a level that makes me deeply nervous. Yeah, I don't like that light as much. We're just gonna take it super low so that I'm getting just a tiny bit of light out of it. Yeah, Dozer's 13, which is alarming for, you know, all of the obvious reasons. Am I in focus still? Yeah, it looks like it. Roman, I was on it. Yeah, no, I know. Look, I'm paying attention. I'm a consummate professional over here, and by that I mean not even a little bit. There's like chaos in this room. If I really wanted to go super meta with this stream, I wouldn't just be like grabbing the camera off the tripod to point it at my dog. I would show you the insane state of this studio right now. Literally the only reason I can't is because there is four pieces of gear that are not publicly available yet, and so I can't just like whip the camera around the room in good conscience or in good faith. I should pick up a guitar though. We're switching guitars again. I don't know why. It's just the way that this night is gonna go. Oh, welcome, Federico. That's awesome. I hope you enjoyed it. I still intend on making good about my promise to do more Harmony content. These streams in the near future will also be Harmony amp involved. We're currently doing just like a stereo rig with the board behind me, but in the not too distant future, we'll be doing some cool wet, dry, wet stuff that'll have the Harmony amp in play often. I will be right back one more time. We're gonna hit the technical difficulties button again because I like that it exists. And look at us, we're back. I gotta get this Jaguar set up. It is, without a doubt, the jankiest guitar I own right now. Like, the wiring is all messy, the action's kind of high. But it has the most mojo of anything I own. Oh man, I've got Dozer's outside right now. He's out of the studio, and I've just got the door left open so that he can find his way back in. You know what? I love the Therme. We might switch back over to the Dweller. I feel like I've missed it in the short time it's been off. I think mostly for auto swells, or volume swells like that. Let's put the Dweller back on the board. And it's back. What do we got? Hold on, Pure Joy. What's the problem? Is it that I'm swapping the Therme out? The Therme remains my favorite pedal. It's just, sometimes something else just hits right. Like, especially if you're doing these that's not super impactful as an auto swell goes, but That's real cool. Okay, I like this question. Federico wants to know, for those of you not reading the chat, how do you start building an ambient pedal board? I am getting back into guitars, and I basically only own one guitar, and it seems daunting with all the pedals out. So, I'm of a mind that you basically want to cover the basics. And then from there, I think you dial your dry tone. And then from there, you start getting weird. So, like for me, my first board, before I started getting into ambient, was a tube screamer, a volume pedal, a DD7, and a Holy Grail. And then I started working on the ambient side first, and then after that, I started working on my dry tone. But I didn't feel like I was any good at any of this until I had gotten my dry tone stuff figured out. So I would recommend going about it the other direction. I think that the move is you get the basics covered. Like I said, you find a reverb you like, you find a delay you like. If you find a 2-in-1, that's fine. Get like a compressor and a drive. If you want a compressor, I think compressors are valuable for this genre. I think a lot of ambient musicians would probably echo the importance of compressors, both kind of early chain and late stage and in the DAW and that kind of thing. I would say get a compressor, get a tone shaping preampy kind of pedal that you like, get a good delay and a good reverb that both kind of connect with you. And then from there, start to kind of dial in what you like about dry tone and dial in what you like about kind of the ways in which you can modulate your attack and that kind of thing. Like ways to kind of change the way your guitar as an instrument sounds, as opposed to just adding reverb and delay. So for me, that's stuff like the Maris Enzo, the Hologram Microcosm, the Slow Gear, the Miku, the Shallow Water from Fairfield. These are just things that will change the way your guitar acts as its own dry instrument before you hit delays and reverbs. And then from there, you can start to kind of like play with big, wide, washy ambient delays and ambient reverbs and that kind of thing. But get your dry tone where you want it to be, because nothing else is going to sound good if your core tone isn't the sound that you want it to be. Yes, Ken is making a very important distinction here. When I talk about dry, I mean everything before you hit. For me, I mean everything you hit, everything you use before you hit your time-based effects. And to a certain extent, your modulations in the traditional way that we talk about modulation. Tremolo, flange, chorus, phasing, that kind of thing. I'm talking, if you're familiar with the synth world at all, I'm talking about your ADSR of it all. Your attack, decay, sustain, release, as well as the EQ curve and the gain structure of your guitar. I'm talking about the things in your pedal board that can be the difference between your guitar doing this or doing like this, or doing something really, really wonky like and this is also like a very dramatic version of what I'm talking about, but it's worth kind of dealing with, and it's worth like, I wish I had like the Enzo on the board, the Shallow Water on the board right now. You'd be able to hear the ways in which you can go about kind of like making dramatic changes to your kind of like the pick attack of your guitar. A lot of people use volume pedals for this, for ambient, and that's kind of like the entry-level version of this kind of thing. The Boss Slow Gear is great for it. The Maris Enzo is great for it. The Shallow Water is great for it. Andy Othling, if you don't know him here on YouTube, he's this kind of like new metal revivalist who he does some really, really impressive stuff with like the Pog 2 and the way that it has like an attack control. That joke was funny to me, and probably me alone. Maybe Ken probably liked that joke. I knew Ken, I knew you would like that. Federico, in closing, here's my advice. If you want to do a really, really unnecessarily hard deep dive into a probably not super helpful version of this, go follow me on Instagram. Seriously, this is not just like a plug. Go follow me on Instagram and like dial way back in my like feed, like scroll way far back to back when I was playing this guitar almost exclusively, and I was playing it into I was using like the Old Blood Noise headphone amp as my amplifier for recording, which is not what that thing is for. That era, listen to how much reverb I was using, and understand that I was using the amount of reverb that I was using because my dry tone wasn't good, and I was using a astonishing amount of reverb and delay to compensate for the fact that my core tone wasn't any good. And the better, and as you kind of like work through it, just kind of pick and choose little 1 minute segments over the course of the last 7 years or whatever it's been, and you will notice that over time I'm using less reverb, but my sound sounds more and more interesting as ambient guitar sounds. It's less reverb, it's more dry tone, but it's more interesting approaches to the dry tone rather than just stacking reverbs on top of reverbs for the sake of being ambient. Well, if I'm soundtracking the zombie apocalypse, it's a fuzz. It's a God, if it's the zombie apocalypse, it's the brown T4, the Strymon El Capistan, and I'll explain that in a second. And it's a reverb. I don't care what reverb it is. It's the T4 because you get that like big, heavy, doomy, like great sounding big muff sound for when you need those heavy moments of dystopia. It's the El Cap because you need something that does that slow degradation that works for kind of like the soft moments. And then it's a reverb because, it's the end of the world, and screw you if I'm not taking a reverb with me. And search YouTube for Andy Othling ambient guitar tips. Don't do that. Andy's a hack. Don't listen to him. I'm kidding. Yes, that's actually better advice than listening to me for the past 10 minutes. Is go watch Andy's videos from like 10 years ago. Like back when he was kind of giving like earnest, here's how you play ambient guitar advice. A lot of it feels somewhat outpaced by the modern pedal context. I think that's a fair thing to say. You know, we're talking like turn your reverb up really high and do this. It still works, and it is, and like I said, it's kind of outclassed by and outpaced by modern pedal conventions that we have access to, and I think Andy would agree with that. But I do think that the fundamentals of tone building for ambient that he was onto at that point ring true as production notes and as arrangement tips. Okay, what do we got? Guitar and solar power already packed in the cards. Needed 3 characters. Yep. Yeah, I reluctantly stand by them. I don't know. I feel like taking the L cap is great because 1, I do think there's real use for it in that situation, and 2, it means that I get to die salty about something, and that's always been my goal. I don't know what ramping volume-wise I was doing. It may have been the board, but like I should be hearing the same thing you're hearing. So if it was this thing. If it was that was playing dynamics with the right hand. Yeah, if it comes to that, I'll be glad. I'm gonna try to get to New Mexico and do the apocalypse with Andy because we'll have so many L caps to throw at the zombies. Yeah, that Ken makes an excellent point. That's also a good reason to go watch those early Andy videos. Is none of that gear's expensive. Like that is good sounding ambient guitar, and you are not spending very much money on the gear that you need for that. Dude, yeah, exactly. Four DL4s and you're there. You're just minus the bear and you're in your ambient. It's perfect. If you minus enough bears, you become an ambient band instead of like a weird loopy tech band. But also, yeah, buy a DL4. I think I bought my DL4 for $25. Buy one of those. That's a great pedal. It remains a great pedal. Buy one of those and buy a Line 6 Echo Park, which I think I bought for $100 from a Bethel guitar player. I feel like I want to put the Dweller out in front of like a Chase Plus Condor, so I can like low pass out some of the brightness of those repeats. I love how digital the repeats are. Oh, dude, that sucks. The Echo Park is unironically dope. And I had one. I bought it for $100 and I sold it because I'm an idiot. And I wish I still had it because it was a really dope pedal. Yeah, I've gotten really lucky on some stuff. I bought my DL4 for like 25 bucks. I bought my diamond compressor for $50. I bought my whatever I just said, my Echo Park for 100 bucks. I think I paid. I have an early 70s Roland JC120 that I bought for $75. That's true. All right, what do we got? Yeah, no, the the JC120 deal was pretty unfair, pretty excellent on every available level. How do I feel about the Empress Reverb these days? It's still so good. I dislike the number of knobs relative to the lack of screen. I still think that Casper reverb on it is great. I think the modulated reverb on it is great. I guess here's the big problem, and you know, this is what these happy hour streams are for. It's where I come on here and I drink some beer and I talk a bunch of crap and then we private the stream afterwards. But I think that an important aspect of what I do, sarcastic air quotes, what I do, is to kind of like keep things very honest and everything. And I think I was pretty straight up about this stuff back when I was using the Empress Reverb a lot, and I intend to always be, which is like, you know, Empress as a company is great. The compressor's amazing. The ecosystem is astonishingly good. The Empress Reverb has some of my favorite reverb algorithms in the world, but like I don't like any of the plates. The spring reverbs on it are some of the worst things I've ever heard. I don't like the rooms. The hulls are okay. There's a bunch of great reverbs in there, but the reverbs that I think make the ecosystem or the Empress Reverb so amazing, the most normal reverb in there that I really love is the Ghost reverb, and that's like a pretty heavily modulated and like resonant reverb. And so I use it for very specific sounds, and if I'm going for that big washy ambient thing, I tend to like a more hollow sounding reverb that leaves room for a lot of the other things that I have added to the board since then. Like I don't want my reverb to feel that chewy a lot of the time. Sometimes I do, and if that's the case, I go for that reverb again. But I really do tend to go for kind of like wider, more spacious, and less kind of like gravity in my reverb these days. And so something like the Mercury 7 just works better for that kind of thing. Thing 1 and 2 is a little bit of a hassle, but like I'm not going to talk crap about that because like Strymon's weird commitment to terrible knob labeling is far is far worse. Like the Iridium has a mid-range knob and it only does mid-range on one mode. The other 2 modes, it's a cut knob or a presence knob, and it's labeled mid-range, and that's not accurate for the vast majority of the pedal. The L cap has terrible freaking labeling on the switches. Even like the Big Sky and the Timeline, I hate there's just like a parameter button. You have to click it and twist it and stuff. So thing 1 and 2 doesn't bother me that much. It's difficult because memorizing what things 1 and 2 do without a screen is really frustrating. But like I can't hold them singularly accountable for that when like bigger companies are worse offenders. Yeah, Devin, you were right to be confused. It's dumb. It was a bad UI choice. It just is. I don't know, man. Yeah, Pure Joy. I do agree that Ghost does work really bizarrely well with like heavier tones, which I think is really cool. We are gonna get another beer. Also, the dog is back, which is exciting. Throw in some questions. I will try to get to all of them in like 30 seconds when I'm back. Yeah, that's it. I'll be right back. Okay, we are back. I haven't played the Hydra yet. I don't have a lot of experience with the Keeley stuff. I like a lot of the stuff that Robert Keeley puts out. I think that a lot of his spin stuff is actually surprisingly effective. I feel like I'm out of focus. Maybe I'm in focus. Maybe it's just the glare on the screen. Yeah, Devin, same. I mean, same thing with the ACS one we're running right now. Is I run Fender amps almost all the time on this kind of thing. I'm so tired of having to choose between a Fender amp, a Vox amp, and a Marshall amp on these cab sims or on these amp sims. Can we get some new amps, please, for the direct in people? I don't want to have to buy a quad Cortex to get more than 3 amp choices. The same 3 amp choices. See, but Pure Joy, the Strymon unlabeled secondary stuff, again, I can't actually get mad at them about that because they're not the worst offenders there. They have a few and they're a little bit frustrating, but like Maris are the kings of unlabeled secondary functions. Their shit gets so complicated so fast. No, the ACS one does not have a 2-rock. The ACS one has cabinets from a 2-rock, and that's not the same as amps from a 2-rock. It's still just a blues breaker amplifier, an AC30, and like a deluxe reverb or a super reverb or a twin turbo or something. You know, one of the Fenders. It does have the 2-rock cabinets in it, but yeah, there's not a 2-rock amp in the pedal. I saw Maris posting some stuff a while back about like some overlays for their pedals that had all of that stuff in it. Like some of the secondary function stuff. I really wish that they would make those because that would be incredibly helpful. Like so nice to have. Side note, hold on one second. We're gonna put some reverb on my vocal channel and you'll understand why in just a second. No, Ken, we're going with twin turbo. Check. Okay, that'll work. For those of you at home, yes, the entire point of putting a plate reverb on my vocal was just to open a beer into it, and I regret nothing. That sounded amazing. Look, if we can't do that on stream, what can we do? Is that a thing? Oh, hold on. Okay. Drop that in the Discord because I need to buy these overlays. I will buy all of the Superlab overlays if you send me a link to them because I use the Mercury 7 enough that I know what all of the secondary functions do, but I still only have like a cursory knowledge of the secondaries on the Polymoon. I don't know any on the Enzo because I have one sound I love on the Enzo, and I don't know anything about the Hedra because I've not done a good job of diving into it the way I wanted to. By the way, we are drinking Revision IPA. Revision is a sponsor of this. They're not a sponsor of the stream. That's a dumb joke. Revision is out of Sparks, Nevada. The guy who started it used to be the master brewer for Knee Deep Brewing in Auburn, California. One of the best producers of IPAs in the world, in my opinion. And the Revision IPA is such a good beer. It's a West Coast IPA that tastes nothing like a West Coast IPA, and I love it. I'm trying to pick what guitar we play next. Old Faithful it is. We're not playing bass right now. I like to run bass down like a whole different channel in my system. I don't have any bass amp plugins. And my bass 6 is out of commission right now. Once I get my bass 6 up and running again, it is game on. But we are not there yet. Yeah, if Beachbum was here, he'd be able to pick my guitar. But he's not. I mean, I guess if he was here and if he was donating to pick a guitar. Although, do I want to set a precedent that every time he donates, he gets to pick a guitar? Because that seems dangerous. Ken, I don't even know what that is. What is the bass? Oh, the bass 9. It's like the Mel 9 and that kind of thing. They have like a bass one, because that's dope. Spaghetti? Is that how you pronounce your name? Is it just spaghetti? If it's not spaghetti and that's like super culturally insensitive, then I apologize to the extent that I feel like it's merited, considering your name is spaghetti. But yes, tips for direct in bass. I would say, for me specifically, I think that direct in bass, the trick is I use a lot of the Universal Audio plugins. So I'm using an Apollo Twin, as you can see over here, and I'm using Console. I record everything in Luna, and so I record my bass in through a 1073, and then for color, and then I run it into a LA2A or an 1176, depending how I'm feeling on the day, but it's usually an LA2A compressor. I then go into the UA version of the Ampeg SVT stack, dial the bass up, dial the tone or the treble back, and then in parallel, I run it to a bus that has the Sound Toys decapitator on it. And I use that to kind of push some really kind of like gnarly, grindy mid-range. And then I just kind of turn that down in the mix, and I kind of blend the two to taste. But I think that the Ampeg SVT UA plugin sounds really, really kind of calm and wonderful as like a kind of nice, warm, big, low-endy bass amp emulation. I think a good compressor accentuates that appropriately. And then I think something like the Sound Toys Radiator or Decapitator does a good job of adding grit and character alongside it without hurting your low end. So that's how I mix the vast majority of bass you may have heard in my videos. Well done, Ken. I gotta get like a little clip from my phone that like hangs it out right here. Ah, damn it. I was like, hold on, I do have one of those, but it's holding that light right there. So, because like if I could hold my phone up on like my stand, I could like look at you guys and play guitar and read comments at the same time. But instead I have to like, kind of stare down in this awkward, unengaging way. Yeah, no, I would say that, you know, also look into Waves plugins. Like Waves has been like an industry standard kind of thing for a long time, and they used to be really expensive, and now all the Waves plugin stuff is like almost offensively cheap. It might be worth digging into. Jamie, I forgot that you're like a pastry chef at a brewery, and that I will forever be jealous of you for that exact reason. Matt, yeah, so I'm running the Una, the Cali 76, and the Benson preamp right now as kind of my like dry tone. Yeah, no, I'm aware. I'm aware that there's like the John Mayer community, the John Mayer upset, like guitar player nerd community is all very like, is John Mayer using a Una? What is a Una? I haven't heard of this until now. I only knew about Two Rocks before today. So Federico, I run a preamp pedal as well as, I mean, I run a lot of stuff. I talked about this in a previous. I need to just make the video. Like, I need to make like a little like 15-minute video for the YouTube channel. I don't know what that sound was. I need to make a 15-minute YouTube video that is just kind of like explaining how I stack my dry tone together. But it's a lot of things, making small changes over the course of things. So, you know, it's what is it? It's 11:15. We're probably only going to do this for another short amount of time. Let's do the thing. Turn that down. I feel like I do this every stream where we like turn everything off. Ken, yeah, no. It's because Jesse's one dude making them, and also the John Mayer community picked up on it recently. So, how I build my dry tone, we're gonna do this quickly because people who watch my streams regularly have seen me do this like 27 times now. So technically, oops, there's guitar. That's direct into a 1073 and a 2A compressor, and it sounds bad. This is my ACS1. So that's basically my little Fender amp sound. And then I've got the 29 pedals Una. So no Una. Una. You can hear we're getting some kind of like harmonic filtering, some presence, and then the Cali 76 compressor. So volume and dynamic control. the Benson preamp. And then the 29 pedals Unas at the very end. So you'll notice that along that path, there's not a lot of major changes outside of some volume boosts and some presence boosts and that kind of thing. Each one is noticeably important, but none of them are the thing. Like if you don't have anything but the Una, it's just... If you don't have anything but the Cali 76, it's just... But you put those two together. If you don't have anything but the Benson, it's just... You put that with the compressor. You add the Una back in. You had the whamps at the end of the chain. And then you can bring your delay and your reverb in. Your gen loss. And your loop. And there it is. That's I was talking about this like an hour ago or something, the importance of dry tone in terms of ambient guitar building. Like I could keep all of my ambient crap on, and if I turned off all of those dry pedals, that sounds awful. Like, but you bring those pieces in. Yeah, so that's the importance of getting your dry tone like nice and dialed before you do anything else. You know, buy a reverb, buy a delay, because otherwise it's hard to understand the context that you're working towards. But if your dry tone sucks, you're just going to turn your reverb up too much, and then you're not going to sound interesting. You're just going to sound like weird, boring ambient. I don't know. Alex, I haven't messed with any of the Jackson stuff. I'm not super interested in what they do. I think the bloom sounds a little squashy in the videos I've seen, and that's not really what I want out of my compressor. I also don't like that they make a bunch of like MIDI controllable stuff that doesn't have MIDI CC commands, only preset changes, and I find that to be like a massive waste of potential. And so I don't know. I don't find myself drawn to much of anything that Jackson Audio has put out so far. I would love to be, convinced otherwise of that at some point, but at this point I don't know. There's better there's better companies out there. I'm assuming there's a better compressor that has MIDI out there than that one. I hope. Well, what are we talking about? Also asked about Una and WAMP. Stereo WAMP would not be bigger than 2 amps. Yes, it would be. It would be bigger than... No. So you are correct. It would not be bigger than 2 amps. It would be smaller than 2, but it would be bigger than 1. and I know this because I had this conversation with Jesse way back when he first started telling me about that pedal, like months and months before it ever came to market. And I was trying to get him to make me a stereo one, and he was like working on it, and it just doesn't fit. Yep, dude, the Una is like, for me, it's like square one for dry tone. It provides a presence. Like, we'll do the dry tone comparison thing one more time. We'll leave everything else on, but we'll just turn the Una off. So listen to this. So that's Una, Cali 76, Benson preamp, Strumman Volante, Mercury 7, the 229 pedal Wamps, the Walrus Audio ACS1. And then you just turn the Una off, just the Una. It's stark when people talk about it being like, oh my God, a 200 and whatever it is dollar buffer. It's like, nope, that is not what is happening there. It's dope. It's like, it is emblematic of what I call this whole channel and series, which is like the secret weapons thing. Yeah, the Una is the great. I haven't played the Prism. I don't know. The Prism was the only thing that they ever put out that remotely caught my attention, and I just didn't think it was that interesting. It feels like they're making. Oh my God, that was so. I gotta figure out how to fix that. It's so loud. But also, Alex, thank you. That's super cool. Like, thank you. Alex wants to know, what are my go-to adult beverages? Love the streams. No, I know it's not a buffer. Yes, no, buy a Una spaghetti. It's cool. And also Jesse's a good dude, and he's one guy making two very, very, very aggressively engineered pedals, and he is worth your time and attention. But we're coming back to Alex because Alex is the one who did the super chat thing, and I want to respect that. Tonight we are drinking Revision IPA from Sparks, Nevada, which is part of my illustrious love of West Coast IPAs. It's like my favorite type of beer. It's the only beer I really drink is like West Coast IPAs, hoppy stuff, not filtered, not the hazy Northeast Coast nonsense. I have a deep and abiding love of like Citra and Simcoe. And Centennial hops and that kind of thing. Like a lot of those West Coast Oregon-based hops that you see that are very kind of like, traditionally dank and that kind of thing. I think that makes for really, really good beer. So I'm a big fan of West Coast IPAs. I think that the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale is one of the most important beers ever made. Like top 3 most important beers ever brought to market ever, because I think it's the single most valuable transition beer from casual beer drinker who drinks Bud Light and stuff into craft beer appreciation, IPA appreciation, and that kind of thing. I don't think anything bridges the gap between I'm 17 and I like Blue Moon, or I'm 20 and I like PBR, into I appreciate the brewery down the street from me doing cool shit. It is exclusively Sierra Nevada in a lot of situations that creates that thing, and I find that to be very, very amazing because I'm a big fan of craft beer, and Sacramento, where I live, has a really, really wonderful craft beer scene that I love to be able to engage with. Outside of beer, I like red wine a lot. I like Australian Shiraz, Russian River Pinots, and pretty much anything dry and red. I'm a big fan of. If anybody here who follows me on Instagram knows what a giant fan of cocktails I am. I'm really finicky about my craft cocktails. I post a lot of cocktails on my Instagram. I'm gonna start posting recipes of the cocktails I've created myself on the Patreon / on the Discord for the Patreon. Shameless plug over here. There we go, nailed it. Yeah, I like rye whiskeys. I like drinking Scotch neat. But I like rye as a cocktail base. I'm a big fan of Benedictine in my cocktails. I like Campari. I basically like herbal and bitter stuff because it's just interesting to play with. It's fun to see how much bitterness and herbal kind of heaviness you can put into a cocktail, and then to kind of like reverse engineer exactly how much levity needs to be introduced to make it a pleasant, enjoyable experience and not just a challenge. I'm a big cocktail fan. Yeah. Let's see here. West Coast IPAs. Hold on, I gotta scroll up a little bit. Oh man, so many comments. This is awesome. Interesting. I've never played a Timmy. I do like the Lightspeed though. Jamie, it was great having you hang out. I know you're gone. Maybe we'll come back and rewatch it because you have access to the restream. West Coast IPAs. Matthew, dude, I love Portland. My wife and I have almost moved to Portland like twice. You know, come for the good beer, stay for the good coffee, and the fighting with cops. Dude, I've had Original Pattern. I'm in Sacramento. Oakland's not far from me. I just had so I'm actually not in Sac right now. I'm just outside of Sac, staying with my parents while my wife and I remodel our house. And there's an amazing divey little bar like 2 minutes from this house, which is impressive because we are in the sticks a little bit. And they have an Original Pattern IPA there that is so good. It's so good. So shout outs to Original Pattern. It's a really good brewery. Alex, yeah, there's a lot of Elysian space dust around here. It's one of those beers that I think they were a craft brewery. They got bought by something like Anheuser-Busch. So now they have a marketing budget and the ability to kind of get themselves out there, 10 driving hours further than they normally would have been able to. So I see a lot of space dust around here. It's good. It's a reliable beer to be able to grab onto when there's nothing else on the menu. It's not my favorite, but I'm also snobby. This is Sparks, Nevada, and it's about as far away from Sacramento as I buy beer these days. I almost exclusively buy beer from breweries that I can drive to in less than 45 minutes. But I mean, once again, that's the benefit of being in Sacramento. Is Sacramento has a really, really robust beer scene right now. I was drinking Joyrider for IPA from Out of Bounds, which is about 5 minutes from where I'm sitting right now. And you gotta love that. Wait, hold on, Ken, is that for real? Is the Centauri from is that what the whiskey in Lost in Translation was? Because that's amazing. Dude, yeah, Matt, I'm telling you, man, Sacramento has come up since people stopped paying attention. Our restaurant scene, our cocktail scene, dude, our coffee scene is better than San Francisco, and our our beer scene is. It's a little cocky to say. I think Sacramento's beer scene might be better than any other single city on the West Coast. Like, Oregon's got good beer if you combine Portland and Bend together, but I don't think anyone's doing what just Sacramento is doing, in my opinion. Dan. Oh, man. Not all rosés are trash. Some of them are acceptable, conciliatory drinks. Like, sometimes a rosé can be a totally acceptable way to kind of meet somewhere further than the middle than you would like. But yeah, I don't like rosé a lot. It's too sweet. It's always too sweet. Yeah, well, most of Nevada is grim, but they have some good beer, and they have a couple of really good distilleries as well. Yes, Matt, you are correct. Sacramento does not price them. We do not price ourselves like an LA or a San Francisco or a New York or something. We still, like, the best cocktail bar in Sacramento is a bar called the Snug, and one of their kind of like go-to drinks, like one of their like, we are very proud of this, is the penicillin, which is also one of the best cocktails ever invented. Shout outs to New York for that beautiful invention. I specifically shout out to Attaboy for inventing the penicillin, aka the best cocktail ever made. But the Snug is the best cocktail bar in Sacramento, and their penicillin is $9, and it's one of the best penicillins I've ever had, including my previous best penicillin I've ever had at the Multnomah Whiskey Library up in Portland. Dude, Sacramento goes hard, man. And you're talking about like Temple and stuff. Like, the Mill is amazing. Milka is great. We have a new spot called Scorpio, and it's the best coffee in the city, and it's so good. I'm amazed that we haven't lost people on this stream, just me talking about like specific things in Sacramento. Yeah, so I recommend next time you're down here, the Snug for cocktails. I recommend Scorpio for coffee. Device Brewing at the Ice Blocks is a really good brewery for like a good IPA, a really good kind of like daytime ale, like a blonde, that kind of thing. There's some good stuff there. Sometimes you're dehydrated and still want to drink. That's what what is it? What's the beer? Shit. That's what 805 is for. 805 is for when you're dehydrated but you want to keep drinking. See, Ken, you were telling me that it has just been too long since I've seen Lost in Translation, and I need to go back and watch it again. I mean, it is, after all, Sofia Coppola's only great movie. That new one with Bill Murray was also pretty good, but like, it's not Lost in Translation. But once again, a shout out to Alex for a $5 donation that led to like what feels like 20 minutes of me ranting about alcohol, which is all I've ever wanted these late night streams to be. Like, the guitars are all on the ground. I'm just sitting here talking about drinking whilst drinking. It's like if meta wasn't meta. We're going to do some vocoding for a second while I wait for some more comments to come in. What? I did not know that. Dude, Francis Ford Coppola did a Suntory ad with Kurosawa? That's amazing. That's so weird. All right.
Let's see if you can hear what I'm saying. Here we go. Here we go. Now you can hear what I'm saying. Yeah, so the stream that we are playing through right now, I'm sorry, the loop that we're playing through right now, is this Boss V1 vocoder that you're hearing talking through. It's being played into the microcosm, which has got all of the loops running in conjunction with the engines in the microcosm, messing with it in interesting ways. Thank you for whoever donated. I haven't been paying attention, but I'm gonna go answer whatever your question is. I'm gonna turn around now.
God, I love how stupid that is. Okay, so, oh God, this is tough. I appreciate you donating to ask that question. I have an immediate answer, but it is something that I am kind of like working on figuring out the mechanics of, not the mechanics like in terms of technical like approach, but I'm working on what I think that there's a pedal in my head that I think is going to be really cool if I can work it out, but I need to come up with it, and then I need to pitch it to a company so that I can collaborate with them on making it, which means I can't talk about that pedal that needs to exist. So, I have an easy answer to this actually. There needs to be a pedal that does signal blending, like the Matrice does, or like the Old Blood signal blender does, or the Earthquaker Devices Swiss things does, but it needs to have a variety of inputs and then stereo outputs, and you need to have the matrix mixer, and you also need pan knobs on the outputs. So like nothing would make me happier than the ability to have the microcosm in stereo, the mood and the blooper all in parallel with one another, and then have them all go to one junction box where I can pan where I want things to shoot out afterwards. Like I could keep the microcosm in full stereo goodness, have it running in parallel with the mood and the blooper, and like if I wanted to like sample like a short burst of something in the micro looper on the mood, and then clock it down so it's like the baseline, I could pan that to the center, and then I could have some weird repeating ambient thing in the blooper and like have it panned off to the side or something. And then I would want it to be MIDI controlled so I could send a MIDI signal that pans the blooper back and forth in the stereo. That's what I want. I want basically a DAW as a pedal. But I think it's doable. It should be attainable, and I don't know why no one's making it. A bunch of people make little versions of this. Like Old Blood has done some cool stuff here. Obviously Earthquaker's done some cool stuff here. Land Devices makes the closest one, which is 3 inputs and 2 outputs, and there is a pan control, but that's not enough inputs for what I want out of this. And it doesn't have MIDI, and I want MIDI as a factor here. I have another thing that does something similar as well that I can't talk about, but it also doesn't do all the things that I'm hoping it would do. So that's the pedal that I can publicly talk about that I think I really wish existed, is a somewhat comprehensive signal flow controller with like panning and everything. This is obviously a byproduct of the fact that I do almost all my writing, recording, and playing into a DAW. And so 90% of the time that I'm holding a guitar, I'm recording it individually multi-tracked into Luna, where I can then do all of my panning and level controls and EQing and everything in post. And so one of the reasons I don't do a lot of live looping outside of these streams is exactly that. It's the lack of the kind of control I have become accustomed to. Yeah, Ken, you are exactly right. It's like, yeah, it kind of is attainable, but it's hyper complicated and cost prohibitive, and that's not what I'm diving into. CT Chaos. I love Goodwood. They make amazing stuff. I have the Lift, the new like pedal riser, just off camera here. The panning is almost the most important part to me. The lack of panning is the thing that chases me off of so many of these ideas.
God damn it, people, why can't we just pan everything? All I want is what I was just talking about. Let's turn the dweller. You can't hear what I was saying? Let's turn the dweller back on. This is Dweller. It's very cool.
That's kind of dope. So the Goodwood thing is, because you're doing 3-to-1 stereo blending, it's basically getting your delay and your reverb in parallel with one another and your dry tone, right? Because that's awesome. You know, weirdly, Sunday morning was fine. I was up at 5ish or whatever, so I got like not nearly enough sleep. But I got off stream and I chugged water immediately. And then for those of you who were around on Saturday, I did like a 4-hour live stream on Saturday night, starting it early, thinking I would get to bed early, and then I just went for like 4 hours, and things got out of hand. And drinking whiskey the whole time, which is always the wise call. But yeah, no, I finished the stream off, kind of like letting the loop go, and then I left the room, so I've got an end card, and so I left the room and chugged some water, then came back in and ended the stream, and then chugged some more water, and then went to bed, and I woke up and I felt fine. It was much better than I expected that morning, which was great because that was like one of my favorite streams I've done so far. It was more eventful than the stream. It does stand up as one of like the best live stream experiences I've had. However, for those of you who were there, it was also rife with technical errors that this one has not had. I shouldn't say that out loud because it's going to ruin it, but it's also 11:50 and I think we're about done here. Speaking of, let's we're going to take the loop super low, then we're going to record some guitar into it, then we're going to pitch it back up in a sec. But this is just us getting ready for the end of the stream, where we like to like let things kind of like go out on some cool ambient vibes. But yeah, I survived. It was great. That's kind of cool. I like that. Yeah, I am very happy that this stream hasn't failed yet tonight. Like, that's out of the normal for us. Jan wants to know what I think of the Polymoon. It is one of my favorite stereo effects ever made. I think it has some really, really wonderful pitch shifting stuff, really great multi-tap reverb stuff or delay stuff, and can be diffused into some of my favorite wide late chain reverb stuff. Like if it was on this board right now, I would have it after the microcosm, and for like the loops that you're hearing, I would crank it super strong, and it would create like this beautiful, insane. I would use the like the slow mode on the modulation, like the flanging modulation it's got, and it would create just this like absolutely massive, astounding stereo image. It's great. The Polymoon's super cool. If it feels too harsh, my advice is one of the alt functions on the pedal is the like input gain, basically like a saturation control, and if you max it out, it gives it a little bit of like warmth to it. And then you can also slightly low pass the repeats to kind of dial out some of that like super strong digital repeat stuff, and that's pretty helpful. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the Polymoon. There's not really anything that Maris has made that I don't think is really cool. Yeah, so I figured out what happened with the video at the last stream. At some point when everything broke and we came back, like when I look over at my screen right now and I've got OBS over here, everything I'm doing with my hand is on like an 1/8 of a second delay, just because that's the camera going into this little like Blackmagic switcher and then into my computer. But when I was doing things on Saturday, everything happening on the screen was actually happening with like a 5-second latency on the screen. So something weird was happening, or OBS was processing the video slower than everything else. And I don't know what was causing that. If I could only have Zoya or Microcosm, I would have Microcosm, because I get more like, the Zoya is dope and it can do a million things, but I can approximate most of those with other gear. It's a lot of gear, but like the step sequencer stuff that I love about the Zoya could be done with the EHX 8 step. MIDI waveform stuff can be sent with the Morningstar MIDI controllers. Its delays and its reverbs can be done with Empress's other delays and reverbs. Compression and all that stuff can be done with other pedals. The built-in modular synth stuff can be done with, some, for me at least, pretty basic modular synth stuff, because I'm not a modular synth person. I don't know how to. I don't have the interest in building a giant rack. But the stuff that I did use the Zoya for on a synth level, I could approximate with like some reasonably priced synthesizers. I don't know anything that does what the Microcosm does. I like there's pedals like, or not pedals. There's modular gear like Mutable Instruments Clouds that does some of the stuff that this does in terms of like granularity plus reverb and filtering, but it's not the same, and it doesn't do everything that this does. I think that the Microcosm is one of the most irreplaceable pieces of gear on my board. It's one of the only things on here that I don't have a close to one-to-one analog for with another company. Like, I could swap out the 29 pedals Una for the Pettyjohn Lift. I could swap out the vocoder for like a Boss SY1. I could swap out the DRV for, I could swap out the Cali 76 for any other 1176 compressor and or the Empress compressor and or the Diamond. Benson preamp could be swapped out with the Pettyjohn Iron, or just a preamp in general. Dweller's pretty weird, but like, a multi-tap delay in mono for what I use it for. The Genloss, warped vinyl or something. Volante Timeline, El Cap, DD7, Walrus D1, etc., Mercury 7, Big Sky, Empress Reverb, Flint, 29 pedals Wamps, Color Box, I guess would come to mind. ACS1, Iridium, Microcosm. I don't know. I don't. If somebody knows, please tell me, because I will buy one and I will put it on another board, and then I can have two things, but I don't think one exists. See, Ken, the weird thing was I did restart OBS and it didn't fix it, which was weird. But, I mean, who knows? It ended up not being that detrimental to the stream, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, no, I agree with you, Ken. Yeah, and I said this to somebody on stream, I think, or in a comment somewhere recently, who was asking about, like, how do I get microcosm without microcosm? And I basically said, like, you could approximate it with the outward and like 4 other pedals, but like it still wouldn't be in stereo. And you are correct that, like, yeah, no, it's the coolest stuff. It's a little bit of jets. It's not enough of jets, in my opinion. Like, I got rid of my jets for the L cap, which was a really stupid decision on my part that I will regret until the day I die. But it's yeah, no, it does so many things that other pedals do, plus stuff that nobody else is doing in stereo with good reverb and presets. I mean, I don't use the presets. I just finished filming like a 2-hour video on the microcosm, and I've had it for 1.5 years, and I still don't know how to use the user presets on it. So, you know, even I have not fully unlocked everything in the microcosm, but you know, it is what it is. I've just never learned. I don't know. I don't feel the need to. One of the things I like about the microcosm is I just learned it. Yeah, no. Okay, fair enough. I like the accidental phrasing of that got me to admit that I actually don't know a key part of the pedal. But it is one of those things where I didn't ever feel the need to know it. One of the things that I love about the microcosm is that I've learned everything else about it, so that, like, every time I power up the board and start dialing in something to write something, I have this ability to kind of really, you know, just kind of like build something new every time. I like that. I like that I never use presets on the Gen Loss or on the Therme. I like not using presets on a lot of my pedals. Like, I'll use a MIDI controller to recall stuff for like if I'm playing live, but if I'm in the studio or if I'm on stream, I don't want to be using presets. I don't want to be using like PC recalls, because I want it to be something vaguely original. Check. Oh, there we go. What does this sound like? Ooh. I put a tape echo, like the Roland space echo on my voice. I don't know why. I think I wanted to recreate the plate reverb thing I was doing earlier, but I didn't want to use the plate reverb. I wanted some delay. check. Is that the tone? Yeah, I do. Oh my god, that's too much reverb. Okay, we'll turn that off. That was getting out of hand. Yes, I am familiar with the Walrus Audio Slow. I am familiar to this extent. This right here is. Oh, did my video slow down again? That's weird. It feels like it's getting laggy on OBS, and I hope that that's not causing things to go out of sync the moment we started talking about it. This is my Walrus Audio Slow. That is the beta version of the Slow. This is pre-production. The algorithm is slightly different than the ones that came out to the market. It's a great reverb. It's very cool. I don't play a lot of mono reverbs, but this is definitely one of my favorites. It's this is in third place for all-time favorite mono reverbs for me, behind the Chase Plus Audio Dark World and the single greatest mono reverb ever made in the history of people making mono reverbs, the Quiet Theory Prelude, which is around here somewhere. Yeah, so we are out of sync then. You jinxed it. We brought it up and now it's all broken. Sometimes these things happen. It's actually very fitting because it's 12:07 and I really ought to go to bed. My kid starts a early childhood development school system tomorrow, which is very exciting. And but I also have to get him there reasonably early. So I think this is vaguely where we're gonna call it. We got the loop going still. Here. We'll do this. This is just the loop by itself. I'm going to do the thing that I love. It's the Volante panning craziness. You ready? All right, so all four heads are on in the Volante, and they're panned respectively 30% to the left, 30% to the right, 100% to the left, 100% to the right. So, you hear that? That's good ambience right there. And then we roll the reverb back up. Dude, the Volante, man. Hold on. We're gonna stay on stream for slightly longer to just get Ken back on a Volante. I remember when I remember a conversation early on Andy's Discord where you talked about how you bought a Volante, realized that the sound on sound looper was in mono because Strymon makes trash decisions, and you got rid of it. And so we are about to make an argument. You ready? So no reverb. Actually, we'll even pull the guitar back out for this. So the delay panning right now. So that's, as you can hear, that's, you know, if you take all the delays, hey, Jebediah, welcome. I got to figure out how to adjust that volume. That is so loud. Cedric, also thank you. Welcome. Okay. So you've got your basic Strymon lazy stereo implementation. We'll turn the gen loss off. Oh, sorry, we gotta kill the microcosm. Oh, and the dweller, Jesus. A little bit faster. So it's doing the thing that it always does. So those of you who are wearing headphones, you can hear that it's kind of like off to the right predominantly. Because that's what it does. It does the dual mono thing. And if you turn all 4 record heads on, we'll slow the time down. Which is cool, but where things get interesting is you can pan each of those heads. So you can go like, I want just hard ping-ponging across the board. So yeah, you got that like wide ping-ponging thing, but that's not why things are interesting. You can do weird stuff like 45 degrees left, 45 degrees right, 100% left, 100% right, and do this. Which is super cool. I mean, you can even do really, really interesting weird shit like the wave. So full left, half right, full right. Which I just think is so dope. So dope. And then you bring like the microcosm loop back in to that context. And it gives that left to right motion. And then you reintroduce your reverbs. and it's just pure ambiance. I actually don't have the thermae. I had the thermae on the board at the start of the stream, and then I pulled it to put the dweller back on because I knew I was going to be doing a bunch of vocoder stuff, and the vocoder plus the dweller is like A+. But the thermae was on the board at the start, and I should always have it on the board because otherwise I'm a hack and a fraud, because it's my favorite pedal ever made. Hello, Jay Boy from Tokyo. That's awesome. That's very cool. And to Martin from the Netherlands. That's very cool. Yeah, see, if you listen to those repeats, you can hear them move across that stereo spread, and I think that's very, very cool. Yeah, I just kind of get lost in some of the stuff sometimes. But yeah, it is. Oh, thank you, Kalik. Kalik, is that correct? Josh, I have a couple projects I am working on out ahead of like a course thing. Here on the channel there is a ambient guitar kind of pseudo masterclass that I did for guitar.com that I think is pretty helpful, but it's not quite as in depth as I would like to go. There is kind of some tentative plans for some kind of more intentional educational stuff here on the channel, or on a website or through the Patreon or something. But nothing brought to fruition quite yet. Yes, slow into Polymoon, because the slow has like a really good swell mode, and if you put that into the Polymoon, you'll get some really, really cool pad textures. Leonard, you are right to feel that way. The Volante is better than the Timeline. Ken, I'm not gonna fight you on that. Like, I think the Volante is dope. Like, it and the Thermae are my two favorite delays these days. Yeah, that's all I have to say on that front. And it's fascinating because like you can use things like the Morning Star or the Zoya to send like a MIDI CC waveform to modulate the pan location of a single delay head. So like say you want that like panning delay thing like I was dialing in, but you don't want a 16th, an eighth, a quarter, and a whole note or whatever it is. You just want my dotted eighth note delay, but I want it to move in the stereo space. You can actually use the Morning Star or the Zoya or whatever to send a MIDI CC signal to the pan value of the dotted eighth delay and get the dotted eighth delay to actually kind of pan through that stereo space, which is really cool. Yes, Ken, start streaming. Listening to your voice on Andy's streams tells me that you need to be streaming. Do the thing. Do the thing. Okay, it is 12:20, or 12:19, but it's about to be 12:20. Pacific Standard Time. And I have to be up at a reasonable hour. The beer is empty. And I think on that note, we're about done here. Tomorrow or Wednesday, I don't know for sure yet, so don't hold me to either of them. I think we're gonna do another stream. It'll be midday, which would be nice instead of the evening. But it'll be focused on. I think we're gonna set it up so that it will be a recording and mixing stream. I'll be recording some guitar stuff in Luna and then mixing it after I've recorded it and everything, which I think will be really fun. Answering questions on how I'm writing, as well as answering questions on how I mix and what my production process is and that kind of thing, which I think will be fun. And I have check this out. This won't look cool to you guys. You see this? You see how I'm down in the corner right now? If Luna was open right now, the rest of this image would be my DAW, and you'd be able to see everything I was mixing. This is just kind of like a teaser for something coming either tomorrow or the next day. So, stay tuned. Oh, we're here on YouTube. Hit that little bell icon. You guys, if you guys follow me on here, you know I post like real videos once every like 2 weeks at most. If you turn on notifications, it's not going to spam you. You're just going to find out when I'm going live and when my like infrequent hour-long reviews go up. Where's the harm in that? Just, hit the button, go join the Patreon, because then you can be on my Discord and I will tell you when I'm planning on going live ahead of time over there, and or sharing kind of like previews of new music, and you'll get my ambient guitar records that I've been putting out exclusively for my patrons, because I'm just doing records for like 30 people. Why not? Okay, last question of the night. Josh wants to know if YouTube is my full-time job, and the answer is a comically large no. I have a full-time production job in the real world. I do YouTube stuff. I do freelance video stuff. I do a little bit of scoring. I have like 18 jobs, and YouTube is only the like second or third biggest one of them. Khalik, yes, there will be a close-up board or close-up camera of my pedal board when I have enough Patreon subscribers to afford to buy a second camera. Oh God, the shameless self promo is so good, but it is true. Like, I would love to pick up some more gear for the studio for streaming specifically, but like, I gotta grow the channel, I gotta grow the Patreon, you gotta be able to afford cameras. Sometimes I borrow a second camera from work, and then I've got like the main cam and the B cam. Like anybody who saw the old Blood stream that I did, there was a B camera for that one, but like that's not the norm. Anyways, this is the end of the stream for the night. Go like, if you enjoyed what you saw tonight, there's a Patreon. You can go join up. It's like $5 a month or whatever you want to pay, but it's mostly just $5 a month. And there's a Discord that you can join. I post behind the scenes stuff. I post stems from songs I've written if you want to like kind of pick apart how I'm writing stuff. I post, I think the big one is I'm doing like presumably monthly ambient record compilations. It's songs from the YouTube channel and my Instagram and stuff that's not posted in either of those spots, and it's just exclusive to the Patreon. So if you like kind of the music you're hearing tonight and the stuff that you see on my reviews and stuff, and you want to hear that music without having to like listen to me talk over it and or go on YouTube, there is a place for that. For $5 a month, you can get a bunch of music from me, and also, help me spend more time doing this, which is awesome. And the more subscribers we get to the channel, the more people donate on the streams, the more people jump onto the Patreon, the more time I can afford to invest in things like videos for the channel and streams like this. So, you know, for those of you who want to stick around and support, thank you so much. And for those of you who already have, you guys are the best. I appreciate you endlessly, literally every day, because this is like the thing I enjoy the most out of all of the things I do outside of, like, you know, parenting and husbanding. This is the only other thing I really, 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 truly enjoy doing. So for those of you who are helping make that a reality, like, endless gratitude forever. And for those of you who are just here for the free content, like, great. YouTube finds ways to make that worth my while as well. So thank you for being here. Please subscribe. Please turn on notifications. Comment on stuff when you see my stuff go up, because it helps the algorithm, allegedly. And yeah, have a good night, you guys. I'll let the loop run for a little while for those of you who just want to listen to some ambience for a couple more minutes, and then I'll come back and kind of end things. So have a good night, everybody. I'll talk to you soon.